hold you with me. Under rainbow, curtain in the city, ocean me down low. Upstream, hold you with me, feel it. Down low, upstream, hold you with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Adrian Zlinchuk, CMT, Charter Market Ignition. Welcome to the sixth edition of our Trading Congress. Trading Congress is back. Bitcoin is actually back above, literally as I speak, $97,000, which is pretty wild for everybody who is watching that and viewing, because we're going to have an excellent session about how the younger generations basically see Bitcoin, how much of an opportunity it is, how much of a hope and the light at the end of the tunnel, and on this broken word, it is actually for the younger people, to observe Bitcoin, to what it's doing, to take up on the opportunity. And it's going to be such an interesting discussion with our today's guest. However, before we roll straight to the show, I want to remind and encourage everybody, because we are literally right now during the Black Friday, and the Black Friday basically means that, well, if it's Black Friday, you're going to be able to claim 24/7 trading help from me, from my team. That's going to help you basically stop losing money, and it's all going to be in the profitable trading community that's been going since 2017, through all the ups and downs, through the bulls, the bears, the flats, the kangaroo markets, as they say, through all the COVIDs, wars, miners' capitulations, and so on. And it's all 50% off basically today. So all you have to do is just scan the QR code, and it's going to take you right in. Do not miss it out, because it's time limited. And without further ado, I'm more than happy to bring over to the show our today's guest, my good friend, who I truly admire, well, who goes under the name of CryptoKid, right? I know him as Efe. I know him as someone who's incredibly smart, right? And if I had got a chance to be as smart as this guy, basically 20 years ago, so not even 15 years ago, let's say, I feel that out, like, with that head, with that smart, bright intellect, you can actually become pretty much a king of the words,
Thank you so much, bro.
king of the word, and the next president of whichever country you decide you want to be. Ladies and gentlemen, CryptoKid, welcome to the show. How is it going, brother?
Man, thank you so much for your very kind words. It's a pleasure to be on this incredible conference. That I think you're the first person in the world doing such type of thing. So thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm excited to discuss all the topics we'll get into today.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate it. And why don't you kick it off with basically saying how old you are, for everybody to understand and appreciate the context?
I mean, for the ladies, I usually don't say it, but I mean, just for you, Adrian, I'm 17.
Exactly this, right? So this is crazy, everybody, because we are talking to the future. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy becomes basically the next president of some biggest country, for what he does, right? Because like this is how we build and shape the future, through getting enough attention and spotlight to the people who truly deserve, to the most intelligent people,
Thank you.
and those who truly stand out. And Nefa is one of them. So
Absolutely.
what's the story, man? Up
Thank
until
you.
17 years old, what's the story? Tell me.
Bro, you're incredibly kind. So thank you again for your wonderful words. I started just a very brief background. I used to be a musical theater actor when I was a lot younger. So when I was 7, 8, 9, I was a musical theater actor, and I did it for a while until COVID actually. So until late 2019, early 2020. I was acting across Dubai on stages and performing, and it was something I really enjoyed. I loved performing to an audience. I loved getting into character and sort of becoming who I want to be in that moment on stage. So I really liked the creative aspect of it. But unfortunately, when COVID hit. And also when I realized that the acting school that I was going to, which was the only acting school available at the time in Dubai, it was very corrupt. So whoever paid the most money essentially got the bigger roles. So I got very upset. It was the start of COVID. Therefore, I left acting school and I pivoted to voice acting. So I did voice acting for 2 years. I voiced the Dubai Metro, a couple like I did a few things. It was really fun, and I made a total of $1,000, I think, in 2 years. And this was when I really wanted to invest it somewhere and do something more with it. And it came very close to the time I was in COVID. So in COVID, I would just research how I can put my money into somewhere, how can I compound it, which is a topic I really want to discuss in today's stream, and find a way that I could grow this money and potentially make a lot more from it. So I continued doing voice acting over COVID, and I was trying to find ways to invest. So I went on YouTube. I also had like a gaming channel, which this is the first time I'm saying, by the way. It was a Minecraft gaming channel, which I was doing with my friends. So I already had some grasp of YouTube. I was just searching and trying to find a way where I can put my money. I was curious about the stock market, how people can invest in the stock market and make so much money from it. I first assumed that you would need hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to profit from the 1 to 2% price increases, which I thought was the case. And while I was researching, I came across a video from Rel Powell, Real Vision TV, and he was speaking about Ethereum. He said that by the end of 2020, the price of Ethereum would reach $50,000. And I was like, whoa, Ethereum is 800 bucks. So I was very fascinated by the concept of trying. You can make a lot of money from crypto in a short period of time. That's, I think, why 99% of people enter the space. And if you mature in this space and if you are in this space for a long time, then that kind of mentality of, okay, I'm going to get rich quick dies away very fast. And it's sad to see that, most people care about crypto for that single reason, because it's attracting. And that was the sole thing that attracted me. So I dove deep into other cryptocurrencies. What is Ethereum? What is Bitcoin? What are altcoins? And while I was researching each an individual token, I found out why it is significant in society. It's not just a vehicle of investment or trading. It actually serves a purpose with the blockchain. I didn't quite understand the monetary and the financial system part of it until later, but I did understand how it could change supply chain and logistics. So I invested that $1,000. To invest, of course, you need an exchange account, and you have to be above 18. So I remember, like, literally pitching my dad with a PowerPoint presentation on why he has to open an exchange account. And this was the time when Dogecoin, just like a week before Dogecoin exploded 100x. And I remember pitching to him, look, if you open the exchange account and buy this thing called Dogecoin, it's going to do very well. This was right before Elon Musk announced and everything. And he said no. He said, I think it's complete speculation. It's not going to do well. And he thought it was a scam, so he didn't open the exchange account. He didn't trust me, and we missed out on Dogecoin. And I was like, whoa, like, dude, come on, we could have made so much money. But I didn't give up. After he saw that, it actually did well, he kind of put a bit more trust in me. And in summer of that year, so summer of, yeah, it should be 2020. I think I mixed it up earlier on. I think it was 2019, and then now I'm at 2020. So summer of 2020, I convinced him to open the account. I gave him the $1,000, and I told him which tokens I want to buy. So that was kind of like my first exposure into the cryptocurrency space with my actual money. At the time, I was 13 or 14, or I just turned 14. And when I got back to Dubai, I started watching Carl, Da Vinci, Tone Vase, James Crypto Guru. So I started watching a lot of crypto YouTube because I wanted to understand the technical analysis and how you can, foresee the future using mathematics. And they were the guys that I was watching on YouTube. And one night in September, Da Vinci said, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I have a conference in Address Skyview, downtown Dubai. And this was like 11 p.m. the previous night. So I went to my mom's room and I said, hey, Mom, I want to go to this conference. I'm not sure if they're going to let me in because there is an age requirement, but I'm just going to give it a go. And she said, okay, fine, go. So I took a cab the next day and I went, and it was the best thing that I've done because I met all the mentors and people that I am so happy to work with today, you included. Thanks to James, he introduced me to everyone. And I was the youngest guy in the room. It was just like 20, 30, 40 year olds. And I was asking about, okay, why is the blockchain important? How does Bitcoin revolutionize the financial system? Da Vinci forced me to read the Creature of Jekyll Island. I studied the Mises Institute. So this was the time where I really understood how Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies can revolutionize the financial future, just apart from being logistical and supply chain focused. That's when I put all the money I made from altcoins into Bitcoin. And I kept on researching Bitcoin. And they told me eventually, after a few months, to open my own YouTube channel because I have a background in acting. I love being on screen, on stage. So it was something I already enjoyed and I was doing before with Minecraft. So in December 2021, I opened CryptoKid. And in 2022, I started working with Carl, which you also had, I think, a few days ago on your show. And ever since 2022, I've been working as a YouTuber, technical analyst, trading, angel investing into blockchain startups. I've also been advising marketing companies. I think I gave lessons at one point on technical analysis. Like, there's just been so much happening in such a short period of time that I'm incredibly grateful for experiencing at a young age. I'm incredibly grateful for spending time with people like yourself, Adrian, who's been so remarkable for my journey. So, yeah, I'm just taking it day by day. It's tough, but yeah, here I am doing the conference.
So what do the teachers, what do the kids, like fellow peers, tell, think of that? Basically, you are getting engaged with Bitcoin.
Well, I kind of kept it a secret for a while because I was, yeah, it was like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago when I started the channel. And when I was doing it, I was very heavily bullied in school. For a few months, they didn't know about it, but eventually, I think somebody saw it on like a story on Instagram. Like, everything was private. I even kept my like personal handle like the same, and I created a new Instagram so that my school friends wouldn't find out. But somebody did at some point. And like, I was mocked and bullied heavily for making the videos, and I was a bit anxious. My school kind of social life in school was never the best. I just, I didn't find what they found fun, and I couldn't really make friends at high school. So it was a bit depressing at first. Teachers didn't understand it. It was after the insane bull market in 2021. So the Lunas and the BlockFis and the FTXs were kind of the most talked point of discussion, and everybody thought that crypto was a scam. And I just went in head first. So it was very, people saw it as a wrong path for me because I was spending less time in school, my parents included, and they just told me not to do it. So it was a tough time at the start, but now of course it's completely the opposite. Like, when I'm in school, I feel like a superstar. Like, everybody's just, especially now, asking for crypto advice and etc. So it's interesting to see how people change on you with the success that you bring on by having conviction and by continuing to do what you believe is right. It just proves to you who are the right people to hang out with and who you will continue to learn from life.
That's true. That's true. Speaking more of the kind of like more executive or processing side, in terms of getting the tops, the toes kind of like dip into Bitcoin, like the main kind of like rule of thumb for you is basically like doing the dollar cost averaging as in DCA, or you have like your own techniques, special entries, exits. Like, do you trade actively or passively? Like, how is that gonna work?
So I'm a swing trader, and I used to do day trading. When I first started, I was day trading like every school holiday, like in winter and summer break. I was day trading very, very actively, and it was very it was terrible. Like, I don't remember a time where I was more anxious and socially awkward and just pretty depressed, actually, because it takes a lot of energy. Nobody understands it. So day trading was terrible from a mental perspective, and in terms of profitableness, like, it wasn't really so profitable that it was worth the time actually day trading. So I kind of drifted away from it and went into swing trading, and started playing more the Bitcoin cycle specifically. And that to me was a lot less headaches, and it was like infinitely more profitable. So in terms of strategy, I just play the Bitcoin 4-year halving cycles. that's the number one that is most profitable for me, and then number two is I have a setup with TD Sequential. So I really like TD Sequential. I mix it with Bollinger Band's Consensio from Tyler Jenks, ADX, ADXR, and the two DIs. And then I occasionally look at money flow. So that's my like trading setup that I use on a 4 day and a weekly time frame. But apart from that, whatever I make from other businesses, which doesn't include trading, I put it into Bitcoin, and that's how I sustain myself.
All right. I mean, for let's face it. Probably you don't see it this way because it's natural to you, right? For I think for everybody who's watching that from the side, from the sidelines, observing 17-year-old men, with a cold beard already. By the way, it's just it's something spectacular and something outstanding. Definitely, that's something so
Thank you.
inspiring that I think many people are just going to admire you even more for that, for
Oh,
what you
thank you so
mentioned and
much.
for who you are.
Thank
And
you.
there's so much wisdom just basically flowing from your words, right? And different, of course, the diversification part is in having different ventures, having different types of regimes, for investments, for passive, for more active side, for those different ADX kind of like DI plus DI minus, those directional movements in terms of the momentum, types of investments and techniques and the toolkit. So that's quite a spectrum, quite a stack up of different techniques, right? Which is awesome. And what I'm thinking is because DCAing, for instance, let's focus on the DCA part for a moment.
Hmm.
DCA for everybody basically means dollar cost averaging, that you kind of like just average out the cost by doing things repetitively, right, on time frame basis, as in daily, weekly, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, whatever that is you decide, right? But you keep repeating on exactly the same activity as in buying or selling, throughout the scope of the time frame that you decide. So the the upside there is, of course, if it's a bull market, right? It just keeps rising, which is you just kind of like scale in, right? The caveat to it is that if the bear market comes, you're kind of like scaling in, even though the market is dipping, right? So DCA is kind of like arguably not so good in terms of the bear market time. So does the bear market strategy kind of like change to you, or it's exactly the same?
So for Bitcoin specifically, it doesn't change because, I mean, if you look at the past 10-year performance of Bitcoin, you have an annualized return of 57%. And if you even look at just buying and holding Bitcoin, and this is where we can get into the importance of hodling. Just to name a statistic, if you buy and hold Bitcoin for a period of 4 years, you're not going to lose, no matter what day you bought it in the year or no matter what the price of Bitcoin was when you purchased it. So just buying and holding Bitcoin for 4 years, so for one cycle, that's going to put you in profits regardless of when you bought it. So for Bitcoin, for me, it's pretty consistent. Michael Saylor projects that for the next 21 years, the average APR for Bitcoin is going to be 29%. So I did a quick calculation. If you and this was with ChatGPT, so I don't know what formula he used, but if you put $10 per day into Bitcoin, assuming that there is a net 29% yield per annum, then with just $10 of DCA every single day, you will end up with $1.2 million in 10 years. And if you put $10,000 per year, then you'll end up with 13 point something million dollars after 21 years. So I think just DCing into Bitcoin is beautiful for people that have 9 to 5 jobs and don't have time to be full time into crypto, because no matter how easy it looks from the outside to buy crypto and to get rich with crypto or whatever, it is 100% not the case. It's just these shiny marketing that is created around our industry, which I completely hate. But again, that is what most people are in crypto for. But I think the most profitable thing for the average Joe to do is to read about Bitcoin. The Bitcoin standard is perfect, to understand the financial system, which will kind of allow you to get why Bitcoin itself is an important invention and it's not just a speculative tool that has no backing to it, intangible backing to it. So understanding Bitcoin will really open your eyes up into politics and economics and how things are working around in society. You'll understand that not everything is as it seems it is. So apart from the knowledge value which you will get, which I think is the most valuable out of everything, by understanding Bitcoin, it's going to become a second nature to you to want to constantly buy more of it. So even if it's $10, the power of compound interest will make you a millionaire in 10 years of time. So if you're 20 watching this video, if you're a teenager watching this video, even if you're in your 30s, in the next 10 years, you can literally become a millionaire by buying $10 of Bitcoin every single day. I know it sounds too simple to be true, but trust me, the reason why 95% of entrepreneurs are not successful is because they don't have the conviction to do something every single day and to believe in it so much that people call them crazy, just like at the beginning of my story. But eventually, when it's successful, people will come chasing after you. I think it's the exact same replica. So if you really buy $10 of Bitcoin every single day for the next 10 years, you're going to become a millionaire through just one vehicle of investment. So that is my Bitcoin strategy. I really do believe in it. And if you look at the 4-year cycles, it's based off of elections. It's based off of macroeconomics, like the Keynesian cycle. So Bitcoin itself, I think it's a wonderful economic invention. And by just buying Bitcoin, you'll be well off. But if you look at altcoins, that will become very dependable. So my Bitcoin strategy aside, I don't DCA into into altcoins the same way as I do into Bitcoin, because like you said, in every cycle you can get shaken off in the bear market. They go down 90%, 95%, whereas Bitcoin goes down 50%, 60%. So with altcoins, you need to time the cycle. Currently, we're beginning the final and the most profitable stage for altcoins specifically in the 4-year crypto cycles. So if you start now, and you saw that XRP is currently trading at $1.67 almost. It's halfway from its all-time high, but you're seeing a lot of these altcoins, Dogecoin, Cardano, go up to where they were in 2021. But there's still dozens of altcoins out there that have not performed the way that 3, 4 altcoins have done so far in the past 2 to 3 weeks. So if you do solid research into just the top 100 altcoins that you can find on CoinMarketCap and see which ones have a good business model, if you dollar cost average into them for not 10 years, but for the next 2 months, and up your DCA a little bit from $10 to, let's say, $50, then I think you will be presented with very good 4 to 5x opportunities where you can just increase your investment in a very short period of time. But if you funnel the profits you make from altcoins back into Bitcoin, that is how you will create generational wealth. But yeah, that's my overlook on dollar cost averaging.
Well said. And if I'd had this knowledge and expertise, basically like at the age of yours, maybe I would be able to grow my hair back at one point, right? But
Bro,
it's
let
not
me take you
happening.
to Istanbul. I know a guy. We can sort that out very
I
quickly.
know, guys. No, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I'm not in a position where I can resign from the aerodynamic shapes. Just I'm faster when I rush when I get late to meetings. I rush faster. So I'll
Love it.
take I'll take that. Although speaking of the tools and platforms, like what do you use kind of like for those automated DCA buys? Like, do you use any kind of like automated services like third party ones, or do you kind of like go on Coinbase and just buy it? Like, how does it look? What does it look like?
So I think I use Bybit actually. Bybit has if you go to Spot and into the tool section, there is an automated DCA strategy bot, which literally you allocate however much money you want to put into that DCA in total, and you can put in how much you want it to buy on a daily basis, and exactly at the same time every single day, it's gonna buy into Bitcoin for you. And I did this for my dad recently. um, Look, you're not going to be able to wake up and buy Bitcoin at the same, like, it's just not going to happen. You will forget on some days, and that will completely destroy the whole DCA model. So if you create an account on Bybit and put in however much you want to DCA into for the next 1 year, and then you can keep adding if you're happy with it to hold it for the next 10 years, then yeah, it's just going to do it for you, and you have to do absolutely nothing.
Shout out to Bybit. Actually, they're our sponsors to the show, to the Congress. So incredible people, of course. A
Yes,
special shout out as well to May, to Ben, to everybody who's behind Bybit. Incredibly smart people right there, and
100%.
Cody, of course. Did you see Cody dance moves the other day? By the way, off
No,
topic.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
You should ask him.
I only know Melanie's. I'm looking for a guy in finance. Trust fund. This one I saw.
You should ask Cody. Cody's gonna show you that. He's a pretty nice dancer as well. Although taking us, in the direction of kind of like this real life experience and the lessons that you've had in
Mhm.
in your career, right? Um, what is the kind of like a worst mistake on one hand and the best move that you've ever had in your career?
Okay. Worst mistake. I mean, this is just. I think this is only applicable to me and only very few people. Um, but I have ADHD, so I overthink everything like a madman, and it's both a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because if you have ADHD and if you're overthinking everything, then your level of analysis becomes very heightened. So whatever I look on a chart or whatever news that I'm researching or whatever fundamental research, on-chain research that I'm doing, I always want to get to the bottom of it and I want to know everything about it. Um, and it's good because you get very knowledgeable and you make right investment decisions. However, it is very, very mentally exhausting. Like I had an accident, go-karting accident, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So that's why I'm holding my neck, and I had a whiplash. So basically, I went to the neurologist yesterday, and I'm like, I can't think straight. There's something wrong. There's something going on with me, and she said, look, it's like think of your brain as a sponge, right? And as a trader, I think everybody can relate to that. As a trader, your timings are really stupid. Like we don't sleep. I sleep at like 2, 3 a.m. Wake up like this. What's happened to the price of Bitcoin? So I wake up with a heartbeat, and I don't eat through the day. I only eat like one meal. So like our timings and what we do on a daily basis, our lifestyle, it is the absolute worst. That is the fact. And the doctor was like, "Look, you've had an accident, you've been through some trauma, but your line of work is just gonna continue degrading your brain if you don't treat it better, especially being an adolescent while your brain is still developing." So it's like a curse and a good thing at the same time. It's something that I'm trying to balance. But ultimately, I think being able to get to the bottom of things and being able to conduct very thorough research and being able to hyper focus into that, and having almost like a childish kind of self belief that you can do and become anything you want to become, regardless of what other people say you can or cannot do, is what will push you to success. Because subconsciously, if you believe in something so much, you're attracting it. You're attracting it to yourself. I think Carl spoke about this a lot with you, but everything is just
Yeah,
made
I
up
was
of
I was
energy.
about to say that I'm
Yeah,
hearing Carl through the lines that he say. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, and things that I've learned from him. So like if you look at this microphone, what is it like in the bottom of it? It's just energy particles vibrating. So everything around you is energy, and if you can learn to manipulate that with the power of your mind, by thinking positively and by saying positive things and having conviction, to a level of almost being delusional, then it will just come to you. So yeah, that's what I would say is the kind of the curse and also the good things that have led me to
Hmm.
success.
Yeah. On that note, also, Carl calls us the law of attraction, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, well, in psychology, this is known under the term of thought priming. Basically, that the thought that we have primes our actions, primes our behavior. So the mindset that we have, the setup of our mind that we have in terms of the thinking directional, right? In terms of one direction and not another, as in trying to visualize something, it actually steers our body, our behaviors in the direction of that thought, right? That's why it's
Mm-hmm.
called thought priming, that our thoughts actually prime and lead ahead of our actions, right? So it's very often this, even if it's self-fulfilling, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, actually, we make it happen. That's exactly what's happening with all those technical analysis and all those irrational things happening in the markets. We materialize our thoughts, right? We see something, for instance, like there's been so many there have been so many different types of experiments, for instance, where just based on this thought priming, right? As in people were put in, there was like a universal experiment a university experiment where where the students were set down in a room, right, and they were exposed to watching like a TV screen with displaying like some other kind of like peer younger people generation, just celebrating, being very powerful and just playful, and having good time celebrating, being very kind of like fast and so on. And on the other side, on the other room, there were other bunch of students that were set down also to watch the TV that was showing actually a program including the elderly people, right? As in the people using the canes to walk, just moving in a wheelchair and just going slower, and every single thing was there like slow paced. That was there. And the experiment, they didn't tell what the experiment was about. That the experiment was relying on the speed and the pace of moving both students from one room to another, right? And those people who were watching those fast-paced actions were actually walking, I think, just moving along like 2 3 times faster than the people who were exposed to this kind of like a slow pace type of content, right? So as a result, even though we don't necessarily make it be, we think, therefore we act. All right. So we, even when we are subconsciously kind of like exposed to this type of information, we absorb this information. Our eyes see it, our senses see it, we hear, we feel, we see, we smell, right, things. And at the same time, if you are perhaps much into nature and you see a lot of green stuff, then maybe you're going to be more pre-inclined to basically see and attract, or just create those bike candles, if you know what I mean, or just get attracted and see more of the bike candles. So it's going to kind of like somehow just connect what you see subconsciously even without realizing, and that it may actually literally impact the way you trade. And it doesn't necessarily often go along well. So at the same time, understanding that the thought priming may be a double-edged sword, as in when we control it, when we have good intentions, I fully agree, right? That is, it's a good thing for ourselves to set the mind and just in terms of, for instance, helping people, making the world a better place, just trying to, become a better person and change the world this way, right? By leading by example and so on, where people need inspiration. On another hand, when we are predominantly exposed by some factors, even though we are not aware of it, that may be like some aggressive contents in TV. Like this is why I think why a lot of kids early in the days, when they were still in the kindergarten, when they were observing some very Dragon Ball types of very aggressive cartoons and very aggressive series, then they were maybe becoming a little bit more aggressive towards the other kids without even necessarily wanting this, right? So we are what we think we are. We are what we think. That's what I mean, right? So I couldn't agree more with what you say, that the thoughts impact our behaviors, and that's, you can actually steer it, and you can materialize, you can fulfill on what you think. So I think that's very right. And having so much of your experience, I feel what I'm thinking is, you and I, we had a couple of chats, behind the scenes, of course, many times before, on the CMT path, right? Because you
Yes.
mentioned a couple of, kind of like a typical CMT grade, indicators such as this, the ADX or the DI plus, DI minus, all those directional movements, the momentum, the POC. Like, why why do you get interested in that at all? Like, what does it give you? Why?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm someone that wants that if I do something, I really want to do the best that I can at it. So when I started trading, you know, I, I I wanted to find a way that I could take this to a professional level. Like, how can I better my trading knowledge? What is a stamp that I can get for myself, which will allow me to, stand out amongst other traders? Because of course, we don't know everything. The only pursuit in life that we can chase is excellence. We will never reach excellence, but you'll get better through the journey. So, while researching technical analysis and where it comes from and where it originates from, I came across, and I was speaking with my friend Tone Vase, getting his advice, and he said, "Dude, check out the CMT and check out the IFTA, I think it's called, the IFTA." So I just started researching and saw how I could enroll. The IFTA I couldn't enroll because of age. I wanted to do a CFA, but I couldn't do it because it needs like bachelor's degree and whatever. So that I couldn't do. And then I looked at CMT and it has no specific requirements. And I said, okay, this is perfect. And then I think we chatted, and I asked for your opinion, and you said, "Hey, dude, look, you should definitely do this." And you very kindly invited me to a dinner with what was our Dutch friend's name?
Julius the
Julius
Campanauer.
de Capito, exactly. And that was like one of the best dinners I've had. I mean, Julius is a fantastic guy, and you guys got me into the CMT conference, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And there, just meeting so many people from a traditional background, apart from crypto alone, just gave me the inspiration that crypto is not very professional in the sense of trading. It's much more entertainment focused, and the reason it is like that is because that's what people want. So I said, you know what? Okay, we can give the audience that content because that is what they want, but in the background, I want to increase my fundamental knowledge. So that was the inspiration, and I over there I enrolled for the CMT level 1 exam, so I'm still studying it. I think the exam will be sometime next month. So yeah, the CMT is fantastic. I met so many people. Tom Robson from Bloomberg, who I was able to convert into crypto. By the way, I made him switch from Bloomberg to OKX, so he's full on DGen now. But yeah, thanks to you, I've made so many friends. So thank you so much for that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean that's that's the power, right? I think in the younger generation people, because some people when they say Gen Z, of course, I mean, it's full of dogma, it's full of stereotypes and and stigmas, kind of like just like the millennials are, and just like the Generation X, and each and every single generation, people have their own predominant kind of like behaviors, tendencies because of well the lifestyle that we're surrounded and so on. So it's full of stereotypes, right? And I think it's also well while it checks out in some of the cases, in let's say average amount of the cases, it still doesn't define the entire rate of the population. And on that note, well, here is you basically, Efe, who's the top of the notch, basically intelligent guy who's 17, who's taking up all those different ventures, trying to understand how the world works. On that note, it actually how it works, on the financial side and also on the just like we spoke about the fault priming and this law of attraction and so on. Shout out to Carl, by the way. What an incredible guy he is. I love his mindset as well, right? There are not many. I wish I could say that about everybody in space, though. Carl has got this humility, and I think to giving
100%.
attention and pure respect to everybody who speaks against the popular, I should say what many people say. So that's the point. I mean, I really love getting to everybody a chance to get to know them well, because they are most of the time I'm so much dumber, than you are in so many of the cases. For instance, like bro, if listen, there's the age difference, right? And
Hmm.
like it's impossible for me to move back in time, right? For instance, but you are literally the OG immediately from day one. Like you're into
Correct.
crypto, then you're gonna shape this entire industry basically, right? There's not gonna be like
Correct.
for you with your capacity, with your mental kind of like capacity, with intelligence like you, if you're there's not going to be anything that you cannot basically do in this space. Like you want to be president of Coinbase, you're gonna have it. You want to join Ben, on Bybit, you're gonna do it. If you can do whatever you want, and that's the point, because you are a good guy, right? So we want more good
True.
guys because there are not many of them, right? Because this financial system, as we speak, why we are into Bitcoin is that we think that there's something off, there's something wrong with the agendas, with the governments, with the way that the systems have been shaped. I think for many decades, and it seems to be one of the answers. Doesn't necessarily have to be the helps, right? At least get on that note. And as we are as we are getting close to 40-minute mark, on the show, I've already, I like I said, I know you're a busy man yourself for a couple of reasons. Though, if you were to give this tip,
Hmm.
right? And we're gonna have to probably be careful here on how we frame it. But if you were to give this tip to people younger than you, all right,
Yes.
uh,
Hmm.
about how they can take part, and hold stake in this industry in
Hmm.
whatever shape or fashion, like what's it gonna be?
Okay, so naturally, you're going to be interested in the lucrativeness of the industry, which is perfectly fine. I think it's a great stepping stone into the industry. In fact, I see two stepping stones for the older generation. It is thinking that Bitcoin is a scam. That's the most beautiful stepping stone that you can have into crypto, because if you say that and if you are an intelligent person, you're going to find out why you think it is a scam. So the more research you do into it, you're going to understand, oh, wait a second, this is not a scam. This is one of the greatest inventions in humankind history. So that's what happened with Michael Saylor, with Da Vinci, and so many other people. So for the older generation, it is that thinking that Bitcoin is a scam and having the humility to do the research and find out why it is not the case. But for the younger generation, it is going to be the lucrativeness of the industry. Like for me, if you ask why Bitcoin, it is because whenever I get into an argument with my dad, I can't have a bank account, so whatever money I make, I put it into a sub account in my dad's bank, and then that kind of becomes leverage if I get into an argument with him. So I joke with him all the time. Bitcoin is financial freedom for me, but yeah, the lucrativeness is going to be why you enter, but just don't get blinded by that alone, because I think if you are able to read Bitcoin and have some basic understanding of how really economies and politics around the world go around, and like what fascinates me in Bitcoin alone is that 1.5 billion people are unbanked, right? So imagine 1.5 billion people are unbanked, and this is not because 1.5 billion people are criminals and they shouldn't have a bank account. No, it's because so many people don't have documentation, they don't get paid enough, so they naturally cannot have access to the financial system, which should be available for everyone. So what do, right? How are you going to pay, a person in a third world country who's making maybe $3 a day or $1 a day, which is the case in so many places, even less? How will you pay them this money if they can't get a bank account in a place where cash is depreciating by the second? The answer is Bitcoin, because number one, Bitcoin is not a hyperinflationary currency. Number one, so whatever you pay to that individual, they're not going to lose it in a matter of 2-3 months. Number two, it's infinitely fractionable. So you don't have to, I mean, you can even send $0.000001 worth of Bitcoin without having to split the cash or tear it into pieces. And the third thing is it is accessible. With just a $2 to $3 phone, you can receive and send Bitcoin at the same time from this small phone device. So you have immediate access into the financial system. Therefore, you can make financial decisions to better your life and escape poverty. And that is the concept that really intrigues me about Bitcoin and what I really fell in love with. So it's probably going to be something different to you. It could be the NFT side, it could be the, I don't know, the trading side, but whatever side to the industry that you fall in love with, maybe GameFi, just specialize in one particular aspect. Like one alpha that I'll give you is that there's a massive shortage of people who can code in the language of Substrate and other blockchain based coding systems. It's like 0.1% of all coders in the world can code on blockchain. However, if you look at the money raised and the money that is being earned by these people, it is like 5 to 10 times the salary of an average coder. So if you can just do a few courses and work with ChatGPT to teach yourself Substrate or any other coding languages, then you can immediately start having a passive income as a young kid, because people just look at results. They don't really care about your background or what degree you have. With that passive income, you will be able to learn as well if you're working next to a good guy, and you can funnel that into Bitcoin. And if you do this, trust me, you're going to become incredibly successful in just a period of 5 years. That's our industry.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and that's coming straight from the 17-year-old grown man with an incredible lineup of a beard coming up, and so much of a bright mind, and so much of incredible excellence, and in the way he speaks, in the way he presents his thoughts, such an eloquent way. I think we need more people like you. So it's amazing that you decided to join on the show, and because just maybe there are a couple of other people just like you who actually just like you back in the day, who might have been feeling lost back in, kind of like stepping into completely, foreign, kind of like unknown territory. It's still, that's exactly what it leads to success, for the determination, for all those consistencies, having spoken about the DCA and this discipline of repetitiveness and just repetition and doing stuff every single day, step by step, those increments. Is exactly what comes up with this compounding effect, right? On whatever that is. If it's finance, compounding effect means capitalizing on those small bits of pieces added up all together, right? And the asymmetry of the numbers. On the other hand, on the live side, it's going to help us basically become better people because we contribute to the to changing the world better step by step, by bit, day by day. And with people like F, I think our future is bright. So I
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much,
much
man.
for
Thank you.
joining on the show.
Thank
And
you.
well, that's been true pleasure. Thank you really for hopping
Bro,
on the show. And for
thank you for inviting me.
well, anytime I'm in, I've always got a special place in my heart for you. And
Thank
for
you, thank
everybody,
you.
make sure you follow F as well on Twitter, on X at CryptoKid.com, at CryptoKid.com. Rush, give him a follow. He's definitely working hard, and he's gonna be one of the world changers. That's my bet. That's my private bet.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank you.
thank you so much. And for everybody, before we wrap the show, please make sure to actually utilize this special Black Friday discount code that we have right now popping up with the QR code. All you have to do is basically scan the QR code, and just maybe you're going to get access to 50% off discounted materials. Just that is going to help you basically stop missing all those crazy rallies and pumps, at the same time, and avoid getting wrecked because it's so easy to just later on try to chase the pumps and get wrecked completely on the opposite side. And it's been going within the trading community that's been existing since 2017. We're going to soon celebrate the 8th year of existence, and that's pretty wild in a space. Thank you. And it's pretty wild in a space of full of scammers and of self-proclaimed experts and people who just show all those fake screenshots and all those Photoshop kind of like type of lifestyle. I highly encourage you to give it a check, and it's actually 50% off today. It's time limited, it's seat limited, so go ahead and rush yourself a seat.
I'm
And
scanning the QR code as well. Hold on, let me take a screenshot.
appreciate you, my man. I
No
appreciate
worries.
you. I appreciate you. And that's it. I've been your host, Aidan Zlinchik, CMT, Charter Marketing, Crypto Group, and I see you on the next session. God bless. Bye bye.